Right, well, welcome to this RBM Hub session where we're going to be talking today about how we can simplify the RCS ecosystem. A really interesting topic, and certainly one that those of us involved in this industry over the last few years, I'm sure we've all come across some of the challenges with how we implement RCS, how it affects our customers, and how it affects our platforms. And so today we're joined by some fantastic guests. We're going to talk through really some of the ways that can be solved and how do we really scale up RCS. So without too much further ado, let me hand you over to, first of all, Barinder Mumick. Would you like to give us an introduction to yourself and what Dotgo do? There we go.
Hi, this is Barinder Mumick. I'm the VP Operations and Business Development for Dotgo. Dotgo is a company which is focused on business messaging and conversational messaging, very focused on RCS, and happy to be here.
Great, thank you. Thanks for joining us. Mayte Martin from Orange, Spain. Would you like to give us a quick intro to yourself? And I think, well, we can guess what Orange, Spain do, but...
Yeah, hi, this is Mayte Martin from Orange, Spain. I work at business development and I'm the head of RCS. So we are dealing with all the development of the business with operators, aggregators, and directly with enterprises. So we are so happy to share our experience with RBM, and that's what we're gonna do.
Fantastic, thank you very much. And then finally, John Shirley from Google. I'll hand over to you. If you could give us a quick intro, and then do feel free to lead us into the session today.
Thank you, Michael, and a pleasure to be here. So I work in Google partnerships. I help partners across the ecosystem utilize Google technologies in order to upgrade business communications experiences. So it's a pleasure to be here with colleagues from the ecosystem. And let me dive straight in, because Inderpal has asked me to come along today and talk a little bit about the problem in the ecosystem. Actually, I don't really see it as a problem as such, just some great challenges for us to overcome. And what I see when I look back in history, that things are actually happening now faster than they did in the past. So thinking about the past, back in 1998, so that was last century, Michael, a long time ago, I was traveling with a group of friends in the Snowdonia region in a minivan, and we were doing a challenge called the Three Peaks Challenge. And one of our friends, a chap called Phil, he kept looking at his phone, a little Nokia device. I think it was a 310 or something, 3110. He kept looking at his device, and occasionally it kept bleeping, bleep, bleep, like that. And we were like, wow, what is going on? Why is this person looking at his phone all continuously and playing with it? Back in 1998, that was really, really unusual. Something that we all know now, but back then it was unusual. And we said, well, what are you doing? What are you doing, Phil? And he said, I'm texting, I'm using SMS to keep my girlfriend updated as to what's actually going on with the challenge and how we're getting along. And we were fascinated, and by the end of the journey, we were all texting each other using SMS. And what that showed, and thinking about it now, is that person-to-person communication using text came first. It was the first thing to happen. There wasn't any business to consumer texting actually happening at that time. And in fact, it would have been very difficult back in, say, 2000 for a brand to use SMS as a channel of communication to their customers. And it wasn't until 2003, maybe 4 years later, that there was the first wave of aggregation where specialist access providers around the world worked together with carriers to put in the gateways and contracts for access so that brands were able to then utilize the service of those providers in order to send SMS messages to their customers. So it took some time, and it maybe wasn't even until 2010 that it was a normal thing for businesses to be able to have one contract with a service provider and to be able to reach billions of subscribers, their customers around the world. So it took time, took quite some time. So where are we today? 2020, we have RCS, and I'm going to make an assumption that people in the audience have maybe read about RCS or learned RCS. We don't have the time to go into it. Perhaps Inderpal will talk a little bit later, and Mayte, about the value of RCS to the consumer and to brands. And what I want to say is that now in 2020, we have more than 500 million people who use RCS, and for them it is normal to chat with each other using RCS, see each other typing, send photographs with each other, share rich context and media with each other. It is very, very normal for those 500 million users. But a question to the panel is kind of, how many contracts does a business need today, a brand need today, in order to communicate using RCS to upgrade their SMS messaging to RCS for all the benefits it delivers? How many contracts does it take today? So there's a perception that it may be more than one, and therefore that is friction. And so thinking about where we are, how many does it take? I'm excited to hear what Inderpal and Mayte has to say in terms of how they can help simplify the ecosystem for brands and the users to get those upgraded experiences. So hope that addressed the problem and made sense for participants in the audience.
Brilliant, thank you. Yeah, so I think it's certainly fair to say it's a great question you've posed there, and hopefully we'll come back as we go through this session and answer that. We have got a section at the end for Q&A, so if any of the people watching today want to have any questions answered by the panel, please do feed them in, and we'll come back and tackle them at the end of the session today. But thank you for that, John, much appreciated. I know you have to run, so if when you duck out, we'll politely say goodbye. But thank you very much for joining us, giving us that overview today.
Please feel free to reach out to me after the event and let me know if there was any Q&A for me.
Great, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Cheers, bye-bye. Inderpal, shall I hand over to you then? Do you want to run us through how Dotgo are dealing with this problem and looking to simplify the RCS ecosystem for us all?
Sure. I think there was a great setup on the problem description by John. Thank you, John. And as John outlined the problem today, really as an aggregator, when they want to port their SMS traffic to RCS, they're just like wondering of how many different telcos or carrier systems do I need to connect to be able to send these messages. There are just a lot of questions in their mind. How many? How do I integrate? What APIs do I use to develop it? So that it can work across all carriers, or do I need to do something different for each carrier? There's onboarding at multiple operators. People really think that is time consuming. They need to know the carrier tools, the processes, and how to launch these RCS agents at each of these different telcos. So this is really a problem that aggregators are struggling with, brands are struggling with, when they want to reach out to their customers, because the customers of the brands are not just on the single carrier, they are in different carriers within the country, and their interest not just within the country, even outside of the countries as well. And the goal is to reach to all their carriers and how we can make it simple. So as we all know, the RCS reach is growing. In certain key markets, it's over 25%. In certain markets, it's even higher than 50%. So how can one capitalize on this reach? Can I use RCS to start sending SMS traffic as a quick way to get going? I'm already sending SMS traffic. How can I really port it quickly to RCS? Maybe continue to send SMS, but deliver it over RCS. What APIs do I use? How many systems do I connect to? Who all do I need to work with? And how long will it take me if I need to do this? So the simple answer is there's an RBM Hub where you can connect to a single point and then deliver and answer all these above questions. So Dotgo thought of this problem, came up with the RBM Hub solution, makes it easier for aggregators to send the traffic from a single platform, and makes it easier for carriers to be able to monetize their investments in RCS by enabling this ecosystem.
Do you have a slide? I'm just conscious that there was a slide that details some of this quite well. I didn't know if that should be.
The slides are not moving.
They're not visible at the moment. Sorry, I just thought I should give you a shout.
Let me just stop the sharing and come back.
I didn't want to break your flow there, but I'm conscious I've seen the slide deck and I've seen some very, very good slides, which would be a shame for us not to get them up today.
Sorry,
fantastic. There we go.
Sharing it. So to solve the problem, aggregators can now connect to and create an account on the Dotgo developer portal, which is developer.dotgo.com. Which enables you to use either the FNW.11, the GSMA standard, or the Google RBM APIs to send RCS traffic worldwide without worrying about which carriers support which APIs. It also offers support for SMS APIs to easily convert your SMS traffic and deliver it over RCS with verified senders and brand logos. We also have access to the rich OTP APIs, which will allow you to send the one-time passwords over RCS, which is one of the most widely used use case on SMS, allowing the customers to accept the OTP from within the RCS message. Dotgo platform takes over the complexity of onboarding, verification, anything else that is needed, and to launch all these agents at all the carriers that are connected to the hub. As on date, the RBM Hub has a reach of around 300 million RCS users, and we're working to increase it, add more and more carriers to it every month. The goal is to enable all RCS users available worldwide on the RBM Hub in the weeks and months to come. But it's already 300 million users connected, available for you to reach out to and send RCS traffic to. With the RBM Hub, now you get to onboard just once, and the back end, everything gets onboarded for all the carriers that you are interested in sending traffic to. We do all the verification as per the selected carriers you want to launch your system to, offer unified pricing, have access to a bot store where carriers, once the agents are launched, people can go and discover these chatbots and connect to them. The platform also supports universal RCS, and we'll talk a little bit about that, which is really a fallback to RCS for people who don't have RCS devices. We offer a built-in marketplace of use cases. We talked about rich OTP and some other use cases as well. You can send SMS traffic over RCS using the basic RCS basic message and other rich SMS tools. And you can use any RCS API, the GSMA standard FNW.11 or the Google RBM APIs to send traffic. So the platform, the hub allows you to develop in either of the two APIs, and it will be delivered independent of what APIs each of the telcos use or the carriers that you're interested in use. So really, from a pricing perspective, there are 3 price points for RCS messages: the basic message, rich SMS, rich OTP. Then there's a single A2P message and a conversation pricing. All different carriers around the world, they have different pricing for domestic and international. Some carriers support that. And if that is the case, the hub supports it, that they will pay different carriers, different pricing, depending upon the traffic is domestic or international. And pricing for delivery to any carrier, you can get the pricing once you sign up on the hub, sign up for an account, then we can share the pricing with you for all the different carriers that are connected. Recently at the RCS World event last month in Dublin, we launched multiple bots using the RBM Hub. One of them was the MEF bot itself. The hub offering really made it easy for us to launch this across 61 different carriers in about more than 30 markets. Imagine if you have to do that without the hub offering, it will probably take a few weeks, if not months. And we did this in a matter of hours and days to really get this launched across such a large carrier base and markets. We also have a campaign management tool, which allows you to create simple RCS campaigns that you can send out using on the hub. You can have message templates available online. You can manage your campaign list via standard Excel CSV files, and a detailed analytics portal where you can see the metrics from these campaigns that you planning would do. We talked about how you can, the marketplace, and how you can easily convert your SMS traffic into RCS and deliver it over RCS. So we have agents launched across various carriers called Rich SMS. On the left side of the screen, you will see the traditional SMS comes from a short code or a 10-digit number with the standard SMS text. Now, if you want, you can connect to the hub and port this traffic to RCS, where the message will go with the verified sender from the brand. It will have the brand name and the brand logo. So very easily, you're able to transform your SMS notification to a rich message from a verified sender. Similarly, on the OTP side, we talked about something called rich OTP, where on the left side, you see OTP, how you get it today from a short code with a text message. And you can really transform your one-time passwords into a RCS, where you will start seeing these messages with a verified sender, brand logo, OTPs in bold, and suggested actions, which will enable you to even verify from within the RCS message. And with this, we have seen about 10% increase in the completion rate of OTPs. This offers you better visual experience, branding, and really an improved success rate. We talked about universal RCS, where you can connect into it. And if the device of the end user is not an RCS capable device, we can fall back into universal RCS and provide a RCS-like experience on older Android devices and on iPhone devices until the iPhone starts supporting RCS or people upgrade their older Android devices to RCS devices. So it provides you a great fallback experience. So for you to get to a wider audience. And the hub, as I said, is connected to all, we've done the integrations with all different RCS providers, whether it is Geo, Google, Vodafone, Mavenir, Orange, Synchronous, so that you can reach all RCS devices. So that's all I have today. We'll pass it on to Mayte. Oh, sorry, one more slide. And just to how to get started. If you're an aggregator and you want to add the RCS capability, you want to enrich your SMS traffic with RCS delivery, please sign up at developer.dotgo.com. And for carriers, you want to enable your customers to send RCS traffic across the region, country, or world. You can sign up and you can get the incoming traffic from RBM Hub. Any other questions, please contact us at sales.dotgo.com. And we'll be happy to work with you to help you get started. Thank you, Michael.
Great, thank you. I think you, Mayte, I think you have a slide next. So yeah, brilliant, thank you. So yeah, talk us through then how the RBM Hub has become so critical to Orange Spain.
Yeah, as mentioned before, either by John or by Inderpal, there is so much trouble for us as an operator to have many connections with every carrier, every aggregator. I think we are kind of a strange of operator here because we just not deal with aggregators. We go to the brand directly. We want to sell to show them the power of RCS, and it is very, very, very welcome. They are all eager to test it. We are running many projects, and we are having some campaigns next week for the new Samsung device again, which was so successful in February. And we need a player that can connect with everyone. We cannot be waiting to have the interconnection with you, because as we know, we are in a global market. So when we go to a certain big company in Spain and they are international, they told me, okay, come back when you have international RCS. So what can I do? I cannot spend like 2 years to sign a contract, because it would take 2 years in the best case scenario. So I speak with Dotgo and they help a lot. So I just connect with them. They deal with everything. They deal with the connection. If you know, not everyone has the standard API for RCS. So they have some different codes and all that, and Dotgo does it all. If I have to spend some time developing each connection with each code for each operator, I would have it never. So I just leave it in Dotgo's hand, and they deal with all the interconnections, all the sender verification. I forget about all. I just told them, I need this. I pass them all the things that I need, and they deal with it. And I think this is a very, very win for us, because otherwise I could do no business here. So they are helping us even in Spain, because we have the standard, but other operators doesn't. So we speak with each other, and we are using them to be interconnected between us. So I think this is the greatest solution. So as they say, you go to RBM and with a player like Dotgo, and you have the connection almost to every place in the world, which is really, really demanded. So, and then go to my slide, because I just start talking on the, okay, yes, there are many users now in Spain. They are all so happy to test it. The campaigns that we run are so successful. We have moved some SMS to RCS, and in this case, the opening rate was between 50 and 75%, which is awesome. When do you have 75% of opening? And the interactions is also so high, it's like 25%. And in the case for the ones that we have some sales there, it was a 6% sales, which is it is nonsense. So everyone is going to have RCS, to have the experience. You have to have really attractive actions there with all the GIFs, images, suggested actions to go to the URL, to the API, to the app, sorry, and or wherever. And this is really, really exciting, and everyone is trying to try it. So we are willing to expand international. We have some clients waiting, really big clients in Spain, which are so well known internationally, and we're working with Dotgo, with their help. I think we are going to do great business. And besides, we are also going to test with this campaign next week, the universal RCS. We're gonna send all the RCS to the RCS capable mobiles, and also use the SMS with a link to universal RCS for the ones that have not RCS activated. So we can share all the results in a couple of weeks. So we are willing to test all their new ideas, APIs, and I think they are a good player to be connected and to be a partnership with them. Yeah.
I think so. It's a really interesting point you made there, Mayte, which was you said this hub has helped you with connecting within Spain, let alone internationally. Is that right? So even just connecting to your other local operators.
Yes, because we have the standard API, but the other ones don't. So in one case we cannot interconnect each other, either me to them to me. So Dotgo do it both ways, but with the other one, I can send traffic to them, but they cannot send traffic to me. So this is a completely mess. So we speak with Dotgo, and they're going to manage it all. So because we need to have all the interconnection running.
Got you. So it's this, if I can sort of liken it to the old world. So where we had SMS, the way that the traffic would travel, and again, perhaps for those who aren't familiar with the wholesale world, basically there was all the interconnection agreements between operators, which allowed traffic to flow between your networks. And so the challenge now with RCS is not just the technicalities, but you've also got negotiating these contracts with all of the other carriers, which again has happened organically over the last 20 years or so with SMS, but perhaps it's a little bit more difficult to do overnight now for a whole new channel. So that's brilliant. So really insightful, and that's where Dotgo have, they take that pain away from you the same way they would for an aggregator, perhaps.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. SMS is running for many years now. We have like hundreds of contracts with everyone, but it is during many years. And with RCS, we have to move fast. Otherwise, it's going to lose the power. So we need a easy solution, great partner, and reliable, and all that. So this is what we are going for. Right.
Thank you. Right. Well, I think that's been a great intro to first of all, the problem with John. So thank you. Although I appreciate he's not here anymore, but thank you for explaining and illustrating the challenge that we face, John. Inderpal, your presentation again, I think makes it really clear the place that your platform, the Dotgo platform, and the value it brings to the whole ecosystem, really. So clearly, you know, we've got Mayte here from Orange playing as a carrier. Aggregators also need this service, software vendors. So I think that we've got some interesting questions that have been posed by the audience, and also, I mean, there's a few angles I wouldn't mind asking a few questions on. So is that okay? We'll move into first question from the audience. Shall we
Sure.
jump across? So the first one then, Inderpal, this might be for you. So can you please explain the difference between the Dotgo hub and the Google hub?
Yeah. So the Google hub is really connected to the Google connected carriers available on RCS, but there are a number of other RCS platform providers which are not accessible from the Google hub. Vodafone is one of them. Mavenir connected platforms in O2 in UK, and a number of other Mavenir carriers using the Mavenir platform. They're not, all those carriers are not available and connected to the Google hub. So if you want, as an aggregator, and want to reach out to all the carriers seamlessly, easily, the Dotgo hub is connected to all these platforms. We have done these integrations. We know these processes. We have these agreements in place. We have the pricing in place. You can connect to the Dotgo hub. With Dotgo hub, you'll be able to reach out to all these carriers and telco subscribers, independent of whether they are connected to Google or not connected to Google. So the Google really hub connects only to the Google connected carriers, whereas the Dotgo hub is connected to all different RCS infra providers and the carriers who are not even using Google.
Got you, thank you. So although they have the same word hub in them, they are actually quite different products, or their focus is quite different. Yours is very much on providing that central aggregation point for everyone, aggregators, ISVs and carriers, whereas the Google hub, like I say, I think is more focused on interconnecting people into the Google ecosystem. Is that I sort of
correct? And a lot of carriers who are signing up as Jive partners as well, the Google does not manage those carrier partners as well. So that those things go outside of the Google control as well. So you have to work with the carrier assigned provider to send traffic to those carriers as well. So that Dotgo platform is connected to those as well. So it provides you universal connectivity worldwide, reaching out to subscribers across the continents.
Great, thank you. I think that sort of leads us on to, I'm just having a quick look through some of the questions here, and I think there's an interesting one here, which is what verification does Dotgo undertake for each brand and use case being shared internationally? And just to add some context to that, I think this relates to when you onboard an RCS bot with a carrier or someone that does the actual message sending, we have to do brand verification. Is that sort of fair comment? And each carrier maybe does it slightly differently. So I think the question here is, do you get involved in the verification of a brand at all, or how does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So we collect all the information that is needed. We are aware of all the telco processes or the carrier processes for the brand verification. And then in the back end, we work with the carriers to make sure we comply with all those processes, do the right verification ourselves, and give them all the information that the carriers need to get them verified for those carriers. So it is really, the process is agnostic for the brands and the aggregators. They really connect to the platform, give us the information, and we work across the world of the carriers they are interested in. We comply with all their processes, give them the information that they need to do the verification if they're doing it themselves. And for the certain number of carriers where we are connected to and we do the verification, we do the necessary verification as per the policies laid down by the various carriers.
Got you, thank you. So, go on, Mayte. Yes, thank you.
If I may, we use them to make some verification with another carrier, and they are slightly different from we request and what the other carriers request. So I hand them over all the info that I have that is directly for the client. So and then they have to fill the carriers fields, which are different. So they are asking me, okay, we need this. So I provide it to them, and they fill all the info, and they take responsibility to have all the info there. So each case is different, but they manage all.
Brilliant, thank you. So yeah, completely well, fantastic. Taking away a lot of the one of the challenges, which is how do you provide verification when everyone wants it slightly differently. So again, great stuff. I suppose, I mean, we've started touching there on some of the values of this. I mean, it sounds like I can see how this provides value by taking time that ultimately, in this case, Orange, you guys aren't having to do, but ultimately anyone who's a customer. But I mean, what's the value of this? Well, let's start with RCS. What's the value of RCS to a brand over other sort of well-known channels? I think it's fair to say WhatsApp has a quite a strong following still, although hearing that 500 million number from John earlier, I think they're much closer than perhaps they were a year or two ago. So, but why should a brand, if they're looking at different channel strategies, why should they be considering RCS or RBM as part of this over WhatsApp, or should they be looking at everything equally? Yeah. If I pass that to perhaps Mayte, if you would like to.
Yes. Well, I can talk about Spain, which WhatsApp is mainly personal messaging. So we are not so used to have WhatsApp for business, but anyway, I think we are going to get used to it. But what is the main difference, apart from the thing that there cannot be a spam? There cannot be a spam also in WhatsApp. So that's it. But there's a main difference so huge is that you can measure all the clicks, all the action, person by person. So the analytics are so powerful here that has nothing to do with what you can have in WhatsApp. I can see each user, where do they click? How many times do they click? Do they click to go to the store just one time or 3 times? Which days are they still clicking on that? And so the analytics are so powerful. The brand verification are so powerful. You cannot share this message. So this is just personal to you. So there's no spam sharing. Look, I have this offer, and I send it to you. I send it to you, my discount, my QR, and all that. This is just for you. You cannot share it. So these are so great difference here, and also based on users, consumers. So this is included on your data carrier plan, so you don't have to pay extra for all the data consumer that you use when navigating in RCS. So WhatsApp, if you play a video or you play that, so you are consuming your data, but RCS is included, at least in Spain, is included on your rate plan, which is a great difference here.
Yeah, that is a really interesting point, because I know that's come up a few times over the years. Was if in regions where data is a chargeable thing, and people are perhaps getting a very cheap SMS experience, suddenly getting but data is quite expensive. Mm-hmm. So that's I suppose an interesting point there for RCS, which is yes, in Spain it's clearly free for the consumer, but perhaps again that's something we need to be aware of in other regions where data it does have a cost attached to it. Do you know if most operators are going down this path of making it free, or what's your feel for the operator community on that? It's perhaps a bit of a broad question there.
We really never speak about it, but it's a good question to share. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think certainly for data, then there is a great, you touched on an interesting point there around spam protection and how we how the channel can be misused. I think there was a fairly high profile exercise in India recently where RCS was being abused by a few carriers. How so Inderpal, how would Dotgo kind of tackling spam in the channel? Do you have any controls or ability to manage it at your end? How do you view spam on the RCS channel and preventing it to make sure it stays clean?
Yeah, I think this is a very important point, as you pointed out, especially given the reference to India. And I think there are a lot of controls that are being put in place, both by Google and we are doing that on our platform as well, where we are monitoring these things and seeing how many messages are being sent out and the kind of messages that are being sent out, to create the engagement level. So make sure that the spam is controlled. There are options for people to opt out, so that want to make sure every agent that comes onto the platform supports an opt out, so people can opt out if they feel like it or want to do it. The Android messages client also allows for opt out as well. Agents allow opt out. The various measures that are in place and are also being added to really control this thing on the platform side and on the client side as well.
Great stuff. So yeah, I think this is the key thing, isn't it? Is that the channel itself, the actual client, does allow the consumer to opt out or prevent spam from any chatbot that they're talking to. Is that a fair comment? So it's very much in the consumer's power.
Yeah, it is in the consumer's demand. They can block it. They can opt out from a particular RBM agent, from an RCS agent, both at the agent level and at the client level as well. And there are restrictions put in place so that only certain number of messages per agent, or depending, messages are again getting into classified. They're being promotional agents have different rules. Transactional agents have different rules, service agents, different rules. There are various measures that are in place to be able to control spam. So where we don't really, brands, aggregators, they're not able to misuse this for their advantages.
Yeah, got you. And am I right in thinking as well, a lot of the platform providers do have their own mechanisms if they see a lot of people opting out of receiving messages from a given brand or bots, then the actual platform provider themselves may limit the amount of traffic being sent by that bot. So again, that's also ensuring that the kind of the platform, everything about RCS is kind of self-maintaining in that respect. It's looking after itself to make sure that there are no bad actors. Or runaway actors, again, by accident, purely by accident, perhaps.
Absolutely.
Great stuff. So thank you for that. So another question here then. So Mayte, we have one for you. As a telco, what type of big data analysis was reviewed? And was this analysis for Orange consumer customers or for business customers?
We do big data. We use it. We use it previously to send the RCS message. So we know that you are interested on this. So I send you the RCS directly to you. So it is more info for the business, for the B2B team. So we provide this kind of big data, saying, okay, this is your potential public, so you can impact this amount of people who is, let's say, as a telco, we can see everything. We can see where you work, because you go every day from Monday to Friday, this time from this time, where you sleep, because your mobile is connected to here and there. If you go outside every weekend, or what do you see in TV? What are your navigations, your apps, and where you go to have your beers? So we see everything. So
that's not scary at all.
So taking into account all the GDPR and all that stuff. we have like a global vision that we can share with our customer. Like there are this amount of people that would be interested on this product and not on this one. So we give advice of what to do, how to dimension the marketing on all the campaigns. So yes, we do use big data.
Great stuff. Thank you. It's I think it's really interesting, isn't it? We're in this odd world where we have lots of data, but actually the kind of the restrictions and how it's used are starting to become more prevalent in the industry, and certainly there's a lot more awareness of what data needs to be we need to be really careful about and can be used for marketing and so forth. But great question, great answer, thank you. I feel like we should there's a couple of questions that have come in here around sort of really how do things work. I'm going to start with the first one, which is what's the difference between RCS and RBM, and I'll just quickly answer that one. So RCS is like the underlying technology. RBM is RCS business messaging. So it's really the kind of the business persona in front of RCS. Would Mayte or Inderpal, would you agree or otherwise with that?
I think that's exactly the case. RCS is the underlying infrastructure, which is both P2P mostly, and the A2P side of RCS is RBM, which is the RCS business messaging, as you outlined. So if for brands, when they start sending RCS messages to their customers, they're using RBM. That's how it's RCS business messaging.
Great stuff. Well, that also leads us on then. So with RCS business messaging, there's another question that's coming, which is how does universal RCS work? Inderpal, I believe that's firmly towards you on that one.
Yeah. So the universal RCS really works to provide support to the non-RCS, the older Android devices, and the iOS devices, which are currently not RCS capable. So for a brand, when they want to send RCS messages for any RCS capable device, they're delivered as an RCS message. For devices that are not RCS capable, we deliver that as a universal RCS message that does not require any new application, nothing from a client device to support universal RCS. It works on the standard devices without really any new changes. From a brand side, they also don't need to do, or an aggregator side, they don't need to do any development. They develop the RCS agent. The platform really supports the capability and converts that RCS agent into technology that we support with the universal RCS that enables it for people to experience RCS like experience on these non-RCS devices.
And is that so? Does it, on Apple, does that require any? There's another question here around. Does it require any additional app installed on the phone, or are you using the native messaging on product on devices that don't have access to RCS? So specifically iPhones, really.
Yeah, you don't need any special app. It doesn't use the iMessage app, but it uses the native browser on the device.
Gotcha. Fantastic. And I mean, just in your opinion, how there's another question here, which I don't know, it feels wrong not to ask this at every RCS event, but it's how likely is Apple to support RCS? I mean, we've seen a bit of a push from Android, sort of trying to give a bit of a less subtle jab to Apple to implement RCS recently. But what's your take on that? And I suppose another question is, does it matter? Like, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's always the question at each of these forums: when is Apple likely to support RCS? I hope one day, very quickly. And until the time they do, we have to have technology that continues to provide an RCS-like experience on these devices. And I think there's a great push being made by the Android system to try to push Apple. Usually all 5G network or devices are supposed to support RCS. So the latest iPhones should. But again, Apple is Apple. So hopefully very, very soon, if not later, but till that time it is available. Technologies like universal RCS will continue to provide a fallback to those devices.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, with you being able to provide the fallback, I think that's really my point with the does it matter? Because if a brand can reach all of their consumers with more engaging messages and create a more engaging experience, regardless of the channel or technology that's being used, then that feels like that's the end goal here, right? Whether it's an Android, an iPhone, RCS, or otherwise. If you can cater for that, then maybe it's less of an issue.
Yeah, I think, and that's the goal really, to make it less of an issue so that brands really don't have to worry about it, and the aggregators don't have to worry about it. How many people can I reach? With that, the reach is significantly higher even on non-RCS devices. So it reduces that friction and gets people going faster.
Oh, we're kind of rolling into the last few minutes of the session here, and there's a couple of questions that have come into the chat around pricing models and how these differ. And I mean one of the questions here was around what are the roles of the carrier in RCS communications? What's the cost structure at their end? And how does that cost flow through to the customer of Dotgo who are using the aggregator, for example? Does a customer of Dotgo need to have different relationships with different carriers, or is their relationship with Dotgo? And maybe Mayte, you could explain this from your experience as a customer of Dotgo. How do you manage this? Do you have lots of interconnect agreements still, or do you just work with Dotgo for commercials?
I just work with them, and they will apply the different prices for different countries. Not everyone has the same price, of course. Some are higher, some are lower. But we have all the same scheme. So we have message and conversation and window for conversations and all that. So the billing scheme is all the same. What is different is the rate per country, or maybe also per net. It's the same as in SMS or voice. So what we do is we go to Dotgo and they provide all the rate card, and just go with them, and they do all the billing and all that.
That's really, I mean, you touched on another question there, which was around the model. So just to clarify, you're saying there that you only have to worry about one model. Yes, the prices vary from region to region or carrier to carrier, but from your point of view, it's just transactional, let's say Windows session. You don't have to worry about managing all of those different models yourself.
As least as I know, I never find anyone who is doing otherwise. I think we all have the same pricing model, so that's the easiest way.
Amazing.
So,
in certain countries, there different operators could have different commercial models that are there, and even for those countries, the platform, Dotgo platform, you connect to it, we offer a similar model for all operators in a given market, even if the operators, for some reason have a different model. So once you sign up on the portal, you can reach out for a price list. We'll give you the price list for each country, each carrier within a country. And really the three kinds of pricing, as I mentioned earlier: the basic message, rich SMS, rich OTP, the A2P single message, and the conversation pricing, whether it is user initiated or business initiated, P2A, A2P. Those are three kind of different pricing that are available.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Well, let's so I'll wrap up with the last couple of questions then. So I think there's one here which is, how many countries have already adopted this ecosystem, or is Spain the first region?
Oh, no.
Go on, Mayte.
No, go, please. Yeah, but in the phone.
No, I think we are connected to all these different countries. As I said, the example is we launched bots. The MEF bot, which was launched at RCS World, was launched on the hub. on more than 60 operators in more than 30 countries. So there are carriers worldwide connected to the hub. We have people connected to and sending traffic worldwide. There are multiple aggregators sending traffic into these countries, carriers in these countries. So we have a lot of, Orange is definitely one of them, as Mayte talked about, having been a domestic RBM exchange as well, where they need help even sending traffic to the other carriers in the country. So there's a domestic hub option, there's an international, and we have a number of other customers that are connected.
Brilliant. I think you've answered. So I was going to just finish with a final question here, which was around Dotgo provides the RBM Hub for business RCS messages, but do you also allow or offer a P2P RCS messaging solution, which I imagine this question's come from probably a carrier in the industry somewhere. So do you offer both P2P and A2P business messaging for Inderpal?
Yeah, I think if there is, depending upon what the requirement is, do talk to us, and we can take it on a case-by-case basis. We really need to understand what exactly the details are, and the devil is always in the details. So reach out to us separately, and we'll work with you to see how best we can help you out for P2P messages exchange as well. Perfect.
Thank you. Well, I think we're approaching time. I think we've probably got time for one last question. Which is an interesting one around rich OTP. I think let's see if we can do this in the last couple of minutes here. So the implementation. So the question is, could you please describe the implementation flow for rich RTP? How does it compare to regular PIN codes, and how does that work in the Dotgo platform?
So here you can connect to our platform. You can use either the SMS APIs or the rich OTP APIs to be able to send these messages to your customers, the one-time passwords, and provide an RCS experience for that use case. If the user is RCS capable, we will deliver it over the OTP message, and you as a aggregator can really control how long to wait for that OTP message to be delivered, and have the ability to pull that thing back, withdraw the message for delivery on RCS if it doesn't happen within a few seconds. And our OTP messages are really critical and time bound. So if we are not able to deliver, you can withdraw the message and send it over your regular SMS channels, either through your own platform or through our platform, whichever would work better for you.
Fantastic. I'm assuming for anyone who wants more information on it, is that something on your website, or should they reach out to you direct if they're looking to implement your rich OTP?
Yeah, I think it's on both. It's on the website. You can also reach out to us, and happy to work with you and get you going. We have multiple brands, large brands using rich OTP to deliver these messages, OTP messages on RCS.
Great stuff. Thank you for that. Right. I think we're about approaching time. So what I'll do, I thank you all for a great presentation today, taking us through some really useful information on how to simplify RCS and how it's actually becoming a reality now. For 3-4 years ago, I think we weren't entirely sure which way it was necessarily going, but it seems to really be starting to take off now. Some good numbers coming out of Orange there. So thank you for giving us an overview of some of your campaigns, Mayte, and some of the effects that you're seeing on the industry from being able to use this richer channel. Just one last question for you, Mayte, which is what feature is it that you want in RCS next? I've seen some notes in the questions there about payments. Do you have a feature in RCS that you want next that will make it even more engaging for your customers? Is payments the next thing for you, or?
I would love to have that, because there's kind of issue here. So it had to be fixed. You can have the action to get your payment, and you can have your visa and all that. It is implemented indeed, but you have to fill in your data, and there's no form for that. you have to do it. So I have to do it myself and say name, whatever, blah, 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 and your card. So there is a lack here. I think they are thinking to how to do it. It has to be global for everyone. Not I just do my form and the other carrier does it, or the other aggregator. So and it has to be easy for the user. If each time I have to fill all the fields, they will go to the web, because you have all your data storage there. So this is the next challenge for me, I think.
Fantastic. Well, certainly it sounds like we've got an interesting future ahead. Certainly the next few years, I'm looking forward to seeing how RCS develops. Inderpal Mumick, thank you very much for your presentation and your company's what you've brought to the RCS ecosystem. Mayte Martin, thank you very much again for giving us the overview of how Orange is using RCS today. And John, Shirley, for your intro earlier, much appreciated. Always a pleasure to have you on these calls. Thank you everyone for watching today. Much appreciated.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you, Michael.
Bye.
Cheers everyone. Bye.
Bye.